What's going on, Archivists? It's your boy Varney, and today, that's right, y'all already know, we might as well call it a weekly segment at this point. It is Locals Recap, and we got Mollywop today. We got the floor wiped with us. We went 0-3, basically 0-2'd every time. I recorded in between each match this time instead of doing the post recap, so I was able to get my thoughts after each round, which is great. It's a little bit more detailed. So we're gonna jump right into it. All right, so the round one post recap, we just played against Fractals, and we are still learning the game 3 weeks in, to no surprise of anybody at all. So I learned, most importantly, that reading cards is fundamental. I can definitely say, coming from Digimon, this game is teaching me a lot. Digimon, you really take reading cards for granted because all the effects are very simple. There can be some complex interactions, but generally speaking, most Digimon interactions just resolve in a fairly decent and, not to say complicated, but in a non-complex way. Not Grand Archive, which is good. I like that. I like that it's about thinking. So the big interaction that came up is my opponent used a Burst Asunder, and the Burst Asunder reads deal 2 damage, and then you may sacrifice any amount of fractals. For each amount you sacrifice, this way you can deal 2 damage for each one, so something like that. I had a Clarent on board, and what I learned was that one instance of Clarent will protect against the entire Burst Asunder damage. What I didn't realize, the reason I misplayed this, which you guys will see in an upcoming gameplay video, is I used the Crystallized Destiny on it because he said it'll deal 16, and because I didn't read the card, I assumed that was just one instance of 16 damage. I thought I was preventing one instance of 16 damage, but in reality, I was preventing the first instance of 2 damage. So what I should have done was remove the durability counter from the Clarent to prevent the 2 damage. And then that would have shut that off. Cool, nice. And then save the Crystallized Destiny for the Refracting Missile or the Shimmering Refraction, I think it is. Reading cards is fundamental. Game 1, I got absolutely bodied in all of like 4 or 5 minutes. He had everything. He put the Fractals on board, and then it was freaking refracting into refracting for 5, and then ended it with the Burst Asunder or something. I got killed at level 1. I wasn't able to get up to level 3. Game 2 was much more drawn out. If I could have seen more of my advanced element cards, I would have been fantastic. But unfortunately, I couldn't. And this is the type of thing that makes me want to... I took Crux Sight out of my deck. This is the type of thing that makes me want to put Crux Sight back in the deck because, man, I had 1 Ghost of Pendragon early, and that was it. I didn't see... Oh, I had 1 Ghost of Pendragon and 1 Spirit Blade Ascension early, and that was it. I couldn't see another one to save my life. Couldn't get any more draw power going. Couldn't loop the Prismatic or any other weapon for that matter. So it just felt very stagnant. He had answers for every ally I put on board. My Sunset never lasted. My Banner Knight never lasted. Not that I regret playing them. I like Sunset a lot. Giving that durability counter lets me swing with like the Prismatic and give it +1, which is nice as well. I do need to find space for 2 Crux Sights somehow because, man, you take it for granted when you don't use the card. You know, it's like, oh, well, I always have the Ghost of Pendragon and I always have the Spirit Blade Ascension. But then you get to a game where you don't. And you're like, dang it. I wish I had a Crux Sight so that I could bring this card back and use it. I definitely need to find space for 2 Crux Sight. I don't know what I'm removing. I'll probably remove Arthur. Arthur for me is too heavily costed. As much as I really want to play Arthur in the deck, I only have it at 2. I think that's going to be 2 of my spots for the Crux Sight. And I don't know if I'll pull out anything else to try to fit a 3rd Crux Sight. Maybe a Hone by Fire. Well, like Hone by Fire, I don't know. We're going to see. We still got some labbing to do with the deck. All right, so round 2 report. I played against Nico, which was the first time I'd ever played against it. So unfortunately, I just didn't know what to do. But it's a water deck, so it has all the water tools, being able to play Frostwarns and kind of wall up while having, it's like such a good all-around piece, Frostwarn. You get the offense because it's a 3/4, but then it's intercept with 4 health, so you can't take it out easy. Game 1, I just wasn't able to do anything, really. I couldn't get into, I don't think I ever got into Lorraine level 3. Or no, wait, I think I did. No, I didn't get into Lorraine level 3. I think I died at level 2 in both games. I'll have to watch back the gameplay footage so I can remember, but the general theme of today so far has been, man, I can't do anything, because the entire theme of my deck is to get to level 3 and do things. But then I'll get to level 3 and I won't be able to do things, or I just can't get to level 3, because you don't necessarily want to give up influence too easy. So I don't want to just pay 2 to go into my Lorraine level 2. Specifically, if I'm sitting at like 6 cards in hand, I don't really want to pay 2, go down to 4. Sure, I go back up to 5 because I draw, but it just feels bad. I can definitely say, I was talking about it in the last match, Arthur's coming out the deck. Arthur is cool, but I think he's more of definitely a Fire Allies thing. And even then, like, I thought about, what if I was playing Fire Allies? One thing I do want to try, I would probably still try Fire Allies, to be honest. I know I said I don't want to play it, but I really like the concept of like Quasi and everything being able, or unique allies being able to swing with it. I think I want to try that at some point. It depends if I give up on Fire Crux Lorraine. I don't necessarily hate how the deck plays, but from the first time that I played it, it just feels like it's missing stuff. Like, it feels like it takes me too long, and sometimes I don't have all the time in the world to be able to get things out. Clarent is really nice, and I like playing Clarent, is why I mean, obviously Clarent's a good card, right? It's why I'd want to stick on playing Lorraine, and why I maybe try Fire Allies, but right now it just feels like the payoff for getting into Crux isn't that big, only because if you don't see your Crux cards, what are you doing? Sansa's been really nice, but the problem now here's my problem with Sansa. He's just one attack. So like, it's why I like the Arthur and the Banner Knight, but I'll probably pull out Arthur and just go straight up on Banner Knight. I know I said I got to put in Crux sites as well, but I don't know. I got to definitely revisit the drawing board with the deck. I'm not happy with how it's playing right now. I'm not happy with the things that I can do. Yeah, so round 3, we played against Tristan, and man, I wish I could draw godlike. My opponent drew like literally like a god, and I did not. Like, when I tell you that there's an answer to everything, it's just the nature of card games, and it is what it is. But game 1, it was going I got into Lorraine level 2 and I was going to cleave the board, and then he ensnaring fumes everything, and then still won. After he went into his level 3 and because he bounced his ominous shadow tokens as well, just because I wasn't able to see anything, man. It's like all my creative shocks, all my cremation rituals, what are those? Hasty messengers, what are those? So it's yeah, that's unfortunate. Game 2, I sighted in Crystallized Destinies and my Staggering Strikes, neither of which I saw, not being able to see anything, and no dungeon guides. So it just felt like I was on the back foot all day, man. The only game that was even decently good was against Fractals, and that's only because the match dragged on, and even then it wasn't a good match because I still wasn't able to draw into anything. I don't know. I'm super frustrated with the deck. I know it's just RNG, but man, I wish I could say that like I was going into level 3 all day long, but I wasn't. I wasn't. And when I was, what are Crux pieces? Like I was saying earlier, I know for sure I've got to put back in Crux sites and reorganize the deck a little bit. I want to punch a little bit more. I want to have more punching power. I'm going to sort out the deck, take a look at all the cards, see where everything lies. And man, floating memory? What is floating? I run 20 floating memory in this deck, but what is floating memory? I feel like I know. It's just been a tough day. That is the nature of the game. We're gonna stack everything up. We're gonna see how we feel, and we're gonna go from there. So as you guys can see, different fit, different hair, because we did play in the Yeti Online Webcam Locals. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to record this until basically now, which is the night before you guys are seeing this video, because I went to time each round and I wasn't able to record in between each round. That being said, it's also been almost a week and I don't remember all of my matchups. So we're going to talk general thoughts here, which is fine because I do have more general thoughts about the deck than I had about the matchups. So starting off, one of my big focuses for the day was Sword Saint's Vow. I was trying to determine what swords I want to be playing in my material deck. So I was running a Fire Tongue. I was running not Drawn Blade. I was running Sword Saint's Vow, and I was running something else. Maybe I was running the Drawn Blade as the last sword, or I could have been messing around with another one. I wanted to determine which swords I really liked. So in one game, I ended up focusing on Sword Saint's Vow, which was fantastic until I realized that if you're playing against a deck where your opponent has an answer to that Sword Saint's Vow, haha, good luck, buddy. Round one, it was Win Guoja Beast Allies playing the Fabled Azurite Fate Stone, which is the Arcane Dragon. He never got into the Arcane Dragon in either game. It was basically Board Swarm. And I could say that I basically won the game if I saw my cleave, which is what happened. I cleaved like a board of like 4 or 5 creatures off of my level 2 level up, and I drew 5 cards. And we were fantastic. We basically did everything I talked about that I didn't get to do at the CakeTCG locals, which was Pendragon and Ascension and Pendragon and all this sort of stuff. So that was great. Game 2, I didn't see my cleave. Unfortunately, by the time I saw it, it was too late to deal with the board. So we had taken too much damage and we couldn't recuperate. The one thing I did realize though, in playing that matchup, Sword Saint's Vow, as much as I love that card, if your opponent has an answer to your sword, basically what happened is he had a green slime in the deck, or the baby green slime, which you can activate at fast speed. I believe if you're at like level 2, or it might just have fast speed. I can't recall. I'll throw it up on screen. But basically, when I declared the attack, he suppressed the sword. The sword had something like 11 durability counters on it because I was running Spirit Ruler, so I brought that back. So it had 3 durability counters. Then I Honed by Fire and I Sunsud. And because I Honed by Fire, I got 2 more. So yeah, it was like a 10 or 11 attack sword. I got suppressed and then came back in play with 1 durability counter, which was unfortunate. I learned not to put all my eggs in one basket. There wasn't anything I could do about that. It's not like I run negates in the deck. I used to run Incap, but I took it out in favor of trying to be a little bit more consistent and playing cards that I want to see all the time than something where I generally don't even have enough cards to play it because Incap cost 4. At least the way that I play my play style, I don't have cards in hand to play Incap. I'd have to plan a turn around playing Incap, and that's kind of not how I want to play the game. And that's not how I play the deck. So we don't run Incap in this deck. I liked Sword Saint's Vow. I really didn't use it the rest of the day because of that. I ended up trying to focus on what I wanted my other swords to be. So I can say that I definitely took Sword Saint's Vow out of the deck because I don't care for the way that it plays with my playstyle. I like these 2 cards more, Fire Tongue and Drawn Blade. Drawn Blade is, good, right? Because off of Spirit Ruler, play it, draw a card. Fire Tongue I like a lot because it comes in with base 2 attack, where all the other swords are base 1 attack except for Prismatic Edge, which can be really nice because sometimes your 1 attack on a sword isn't really doing anything, but 2 attack is nice, especially using like a Savage Slash. Sometimes the difference between 3 attack and 4 attack is pretty big. More importantly, it has the class bonus. On attack, you may banish a fire element card from your graveyard. If you do, you can put a durability counter on this, which basically means you get a recurring free attack, which is what I really like about this card, because I will generally get to a spot where I don't want to swing because I don't really want my swords to break. I'm playing Spirit Ruler. I don't really want my swords to break unless I can Ascension it out. But more often than not, I just want to take some swings at level 1 and 2. Fire Tongue lets me do that. Now I do have to pay 1 for it, so I do try to bring this in off of Spirit Ruler. But if I need to emergency go into a Fire Tongue, I don't mind, because at least I know that I can keep reusing it every turn because I'm using Creative Shock, I'm using Cremation Ritual, my Hasty Messengers are going to end up there. And those are cards that don't do anything for me in the graveyard anyways. So if I can banish them, get the durability counter, be able to swing and keep the sword alive, that's great. So I like that. That's one big change I made to the deck that I am now very content with. I also went back to some roots. I put deflecting edges in the deck, which I have come to really enjoy. No, I do run 3 main deck and 1 in the side deck, but the space is tight now. And I put back in the Cruxites. I took out the Banner Knights and the Arthurs. As much as I really like the Banner Knights, one of the biggest things that I'm seeing in the meta is that being able to remove a 3-life body is generally very easy. So Banner Knight just isn't safe, especially at 1 attack. So I really like Banner Knight, but Sansa cost 1 more, gives me a durability counter, gives me the same attack bonus only on my swords, not on allies, but it comes in at 4 life, which is really great because it means that my opponents have to spend just that little bit more to get rid of the Sansa. So my Sansas have a lot more staying power, which is great. So I went up to 4 Sansas because I love Sansa. Also, Sansa comes online earlier. I can drop Sansa on my level 1 turn because I can put the durability counter on my Sword of Seeking, make sure that it stays alive so that I can do some looping shenanigans, whether it's Ghost of Pendragon or Spirit Blade Ascension later in the game. And because it's just class bonus, it's not level locked bonuses, I still get that +1 attack. So my Sword of Seeking is still doing 2 base, or Fire Tongue is doing 3 base, which is really nice. So I'm really liking that a lot. I didn't make too many other big changes outside of those. It's just those small changes that really helped me. Also, I did toy around. I removed the Refracting Missile and the Scatter Essence. Those are 2 cards that you basically use for a Prismatic Edge. I removed them to try other things. I don't recall what exactly it was that I was trying, but I just went for uber consistency. And while it worked, I definitely had games where I was like, damn, I wish I had Scatter Essence, or I wish I had the Refracting Missile so I can get that card draw off a Prismatic, or I can banish cards from your memory. So I put those cards back in because it does feel like it's really crucial to play it, even though you might not see it all the time because they're basically 1-ofs, maybe 2, depending if you're, on the meta and whatnot. But I was playing against the wind deck and I was revealing memory and there was no wind cards because it was slimes and it was all other elements. And I was like, no, I need wind. I want to banish cards. Like I said, round 1, we played against that Guoja Beast Ally deck. Really cool, drew that. Round 2, I got absolutely slaughtered by Semper Ignatus, who went 4-0 in the event, placed second to Jimmy Lee. Shout out to the both of them. He was playing a Diana deck that showed me, wow, it literally was like a get wrecked noob deck. I didn't know how to play against it, and I got level locked. For what it's worth, he had some insane turns because he went from 1 to 3 before I could react, and then I got locked so that if I drew a second card, I was going to take damage, or on the second card that I drew each turn, I would take a damage, and I had 2 of those, so I'd take, I think, a total of 8 damage, and then if I leveled up, I would take another, I think it's like 8 damage. So I basically, I couldn't play the game, which was unfortunate. Got mollywopped by that real quick, but it was a cool deck to see. I really do like Diana. I am excited to see what the new starter deck brings for Astra Diana. And of course, we do have Umbra support, so maybe Diana can do some things too. So definitely gonna be checking that out. That was a very cool list. If you guys want to see that, I'll link Yeti in the description down below. You can check that list out. He did go 4-0. So, round 3, we played against Tristan. Continues to be the bane of my existence. Now, slimes were the bane of my existence, but I redeemed myself today. Tristan, however, the problem was, it was definitely, I could have won that match, but I definitely did not tempo myself correctly. I did not keep up the tempo. I decided to take things slow because I saw he was taking things slow. And because I did that, it bit me in the butt because when he popped off, I essentially wasn't able to have a good response. If I had went with my normal game plan, because I spent time on the GCR and I spent time to materialize the sword, but if I went straight in to basically get my Lorraine level 3 and apply some heavy early damage, I would have been in a much better position. Unfortunately, I did not. And so we lost that 0-2. Both games are basically the same story. One was slower than the other, but if I learned a little bit about how to tempo my plays, especially with this deck. So we're going to take that into next time we play against Tristan. Round 4, we played against Slimes. And yes, like I said, we redeemed ourselves against Slimes. Now, for what it's worth, he was bricking. He didn't see some of the cards that he wanted to see, which was a travesty. But cleave, baby, cleave the board. Get those Slimes off the board. We ended up taking that. I had a crazy turn. I can't wait to do the gameplay reviews that I'm going to do for this channel, because I had this one turn where he had some amount of health and I dealt him the exact amount of damage that I needed to deal to close the game out, because if I didn't, I know I was dead next turn. And with some Spirit Blade Ascension into Prismatic shenanigans off of I think like a Honed by Fire. Maybe I did end up using the Sword Saint's Vow to try to buff up the attack or something. I don't know. It was crazy, super cool, super fun. It was a really cool win, and I really enjoyed that. So like I said, we ended Yeti going 1-2-1. In my opinion, could have been 2-2 or even 3-1. I drew that one match, and I think Tristan is very winnable. I know Tristan can be tough, but you know, I do have staggering strikes to play against Tristan. If I could see staggering strikes when I side them in, you know, I'd be great. But unfortunately, we didn't see the staggering strikes. But regardless, learning about tempo and trying to tempo yourself, get to where you need to be before your opponent gets to where they need to be. But this week, we will be participating in another CakeTCG and another Yeti Webcam Locals, still playing Fire Crux Lorraine, because I'm going to try to master this deck. I do want to play other decks. I have Fire Xander built, I have Sylvie built, Fire Serene Sylvie, and I also have Rai built. But I've come so far with this. I've put a lot of thought and energy into this. So I want to finish it out on at least a good note. So the goal is we want to finish either Cake or Yeti with a winning record. Not saying we have to go undefeated, not saying we have to win the event, but we have to go 2-1 or 3-1. A draw, you know, going 500, 2-2 is not good enough. 1-1-1, not good enough. That's the goal. So we're going to see if we can get there. Thank you guys for watching this. If you guys liked it, please do drop a like, drop a comment, letting me know how you thought. What are you guys playing in these locals? And also, I will be making a video. If you've watched it this far, first of all, thank you. I will be making a video because I saw people asking about how to get involved in Grand Archives online webcam locals. It's simple, but if you don't know where to go, how to set up, what to do, you might be confused, which is totally fine. So I will be putting out a video for that coming soon. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when that video and other videos come out. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. And until I talk to you guys the next time, peace out.